Hello, this is a short video about running safety tips. Really what we're going to cover here is how to avoid accidents and hopefully avoid injuries as well. My name is Health Nut Bill, and I've got a few safety tips here for the great running sport to help you do it safely and also hopefully to prevent injuries. For you experienced runners out there, I'm sure pretty much everything you're going to see here is probably going to be old news for you. But for anybody who's maybe new to the sport of running, I hope you'll take a look at this short video. Hopefully it'll give you a much more pleasant and safe experience when you're out there enjoying the great sport of running. Let's start with some really common sense checkoffs, okay? There's some basic checkoffs that you can do, even before starting out. Some of them are just some simple questions. Ask yourself, first of all, are you familiar with the route that you're going to be running? That can be important. I used to travel a lot, and when I'd get to new cities and I'd go out for a run after work, a lot of times I wasn't familiar with the area where I was staying. It might have been new. So, you just want to be careful that you don't get into some bad neighborhoods. You want to go someplace, there's always a possibility of dogs running around, something like that. So, try to be familiar with the route that you're going to be taking. Someone know where you're going to be when you run. If you show up, is somebody going to be a little bit worried so that maybe they notify someone? Have you checked to make sure that you've got all the safety gear that you want with you? We'll cover some of that safety gear in just a little bit here, but you might want to have a checklist. Make sure that you've got the things that you should carry with you. We're going to cover all of that stuff here in this brief video. Do you have an ID with you, like a driver's license, or any other maybe possible pertinent medical information? If you've got certain allergies or you're allergic to certain medications, do you have a bracelet that says that on there, or something to that extent, or maybe just a little card with that information printed on it? Could be a matter of life and death. Let's take a look at a few safety tips here for some safe running. If possible, it's best to run at night. Naturally, you're much less visible, and of course, there are other dangers that can go with the night. If you do want to run at night, and you are someone who's at home, maybe you start to run with some other people, join a running club, or have a friend that you run with. Always safer in numbers. When it comes to avoiding traffic, don't second guess drivers. Don't anticipate what you think they're going to do. Make sure that you let them know what you're going to do. Look them in the eye when you're crossing the street, to make sure that they know that they're aware of that you're going to be coming. Also signal. Let them know by signaling to them what you plan on doing. You don't stand a chance up against a 3,000 or 4,000 pound, 5,000 pound automobile. So, it's great to make sure that people are aware of what you're going to be doing. If you are running on a street or a road, run towards traffic so that you know what's approaching you. It's never good to be running with traffic coming to your back. If somebody swerves over and you don't see it, it's too late. Carry an ID, again, as we talked about, including a health insurance card. If you had an emergency out there where they had to take you straight to an emergency room or to the hospital, having that health insurance card would go a long ways probably to speeding up the process. Try to limit the distractions that you have while you're running, especially, listening to music. Now, I know this is going to rile a lot of people. Most people I see running today, I do see them with earbuds in their ears, but as you can imagine, that covers up a lot of the other sounds that you should be aware of, such as traffic that could be coming, an aggressive animal, even a bicycle coming up behind you, something like that. So it really limits the amount of feedback you're getting from your environment. If possible, Avoid those busy streets and roads and run in parks or on running paths or on sidewalks, or at least find a street with a really wide shoulder on the road. Be aware of other traffic around you. I'm not only talking about vehicles here, I'm talking about bicycles, even other joggers, especially on a path of some kind. Make sure that you signal to them if you're making a turn, if you're going to be changing lanes, whatever it might be, including if you're going to pass somebody, even, let them know before you go by them, like, hey, I'm going to be passing on your left, something like that. It just facilitates the possibilities of not getting your legs mixed up with someone and taking a nasty fall. Carry some cash or an ATM card in case of that emergency that we keep talking about. You might just even have to stop, buy a water or a health drink in case you get dehydrated. Or if you really, really hurt yourself severely where you could not get back to your hotel or to your home or whatever, you might have to call a cab and have to pay for that. So always good to have some cash or an ATM card. Watch for dogs. If one approaches you aggressively, it's best never to run. I mean, that sometimes just triggers them to come after you even more. Best to face them. Try not to look them in the eye. That could be an aggressive move in some cases. Talk softly to them, telling them to go home or, just go away. Try to get to the other side of the street if that's a possibility where there's traffic, so the dog may not follow you across the street. If you can't do that, then just back away slowly. But just don't, like I said, don't run and don't make any aggressive moves toward them. This may be where some of the next things we're talking about here could come in handy, like something like pepper spray or something. All right, let's talk about some of that safety gear. First and foremost, running shoes. You may need more than one pair. But the key here is to make sure that you've got running shoes that fit your style of running. Whether you're a street runner, a trail runner, an extreme runner, they could possibly need a different type of shoe. Also, you need to know what type of feet you have. Do you have flat feet? Do you have a high arch? Those all go into your decision about what type of shoe is best designed for your foot. Once you start racking up the miles, believe me, if you have any hot spots in that shoe, they just get exacerbated, when you're running long distances where you can, have some severe things like, some bad blisters or just, other things that could cause heel spurs or something like that. So if you have to get help, go to a professional shoe store, running shoe store, where somebody that's trained to maybe help you pick out the shoe that's designed just for the type of running you do and it fits your foot properly. Also, get your foot measured. Make sure you got the right size. I found that tennis shoes from brand to brand vary tremendously in how they fit, even in the same size. It just has to do with the way they're designed. Wear socks that fit the weather as well as fit your particular needs. Thin socks probably in summer are better. Thick socks in winter to keep you warm. Try not to wear socks that are made of 100% cotton. Cotton will absorb a lot of moisture. When your feet get wet, that's what tends to cause blisters, especially in that hot weather. Try to find socks that maybe have a blend of wool, or even some of the synthetics are much better. And again, this is certainly a personal preference. I know a lot of people even run barefoot. But again, that is totally up to you, but certainly find a sock that fits the particular conditions that you're using, that you're running under. Reflective clothing can be a lifesaver, or even just wear bright colors during the day, or white clothes, something that's very visible. Again, I'm going to say it, avoid running at night if possible, but if that's what you like to do, or that's what you're forced to do in some cases, make sure that you've got reflective markings on your outerwear or even on your shoes. Something that, when a light hits it, you show up and make yourself very visible. Some of the safety equipment that you might want to think about carrying. Carry a whistle in case you have an emergency. This can bring attention to you, especially if you're, happen to be off of a major area where you're not being seen. Use a whistle to bring attention to you to get some help. As I talked about just a minute ago, pepper spray, if you feel that's necessary, especially for you women. You might want to have a pepper spray with you in case of an aggressive person, or for everybody in case of, again, those aggressive dogs or animals that you might encounter. You should carry a cell phone, certainly, in case of that injury or that emergency. It could be a matter, again, of getting help much faster, pinpointing your location, all of those things. So, they're small today, they're light. There's always all kinds of different cases that they can be carried in. Certainly, you can find a way to strap a cell phone on your body. Now let's talk a little bit about avoiding injuries. The first and foremost, warming up and stretching before you run is critical. And then certainly stretching and a little cool down after you run is just as necessary if you really want to avoid some of those injuries. Do a few jumping jacks or jog in place a little bit at first just to get those muscles warmed up and, get your body starting to warm up a little bit. If you do some stretching, pay particular attention to certain muscles, your ankles, your calves, your hamstrings, your quadriceps, those leg muscles, since they're the ones that are going to be taking the beating primarily. Certainly your back as well a little bit. I know that used to be one of the things that bothered me somewhat when I ran was I would tend to get a little bit of a sore back. Drink plenty of water on those hot days. Load up before you go, and then even take some with you if you're going to be gone any length of time. It's critical that you stay hydrated during a hot day. If you get dehydrated, that can be very dangerous. Okay, well, this short video was certainly not meant to be a comprehensive coverage of everything about gear, safety, or avoiding injuries while running. But I hope that you found it's a good start anyway. Take it upon yourself to find the right products for you, that, whatever safety products you feel that you need, where you run, how you run, what times of day you run. Same thing with clothing. Make sure that you've got a mix of clothing that meets all the different seasons that you run in. And as I said before, you may need more than one pair of running shoes if you tend to run some on the street, but then you tend to go off-road. Off-road shoes might be different. You may need more traction. You may need more support in certain areas of that shoe because of the more rugged terrain that you're running on. So just as we started out, use common sense in most cases, and I think you'll find that you're going to have a much more enjoyable experience in the running sport. Thank you. This is Health Nut Bill signing off for now.